Hello everyone and welcome to Simply Made Homestead. I'm Marian and today I want to talk to you about caring for a poisoned goat. Now, none of us want to ever have to experience that, and we were so careful around our farm that I really thought the chance was really slim that would happen to us. Because we were very careful before we give our goats anything. We always check to make sure that it's okay for them to eat it, and but sometimes it happens. And today I'm also going to share with you a DIY detox for poisoning in goats. But first I want to tell you just a little bit about what happened to us. Our little Fiona, we had someone trim our azalea bushes for us that are in the front yard. And they threw the clippings over the fence to the goats, to our little girl goats, which we didn't know it, had no idea that it had happened. And then that evening, all of a sudden, it was dark, and I had fed them that night, and she came out and ate. She seemed fine. And so anyway, then all of a sudden, after dark, I heard her yell out, and you just don't. I haven't, we've only had goats for, 6 months now, so we are new to goats, but I've never heard them holler out at night, so I knew something was wrong. And when I went out there, I thought she had diarrhea at first, because we've got a couple of the little electrical spool thingies, in their little pen. They like to lay up on, and it was just everywhere. And I thought that she had diarrhea. I thought, oh Lord. So my mind kicked into gear as to how to treat her for diarrhea. But it was a lot, And then my husband was like, no, Marian, I think she's thrown up. So, and then I get to looking closer because it is dark. Our flashlight wasn't great. And sure enough, she had thrown up. And because her mouth was just, it was on her mouth. It was just all over her. It was everywhere. Athena, our other doe, she seemed fine. But anyway, I went into panic mode. I have really, honestly, had no idea what to do or how to treat her. So first thing I did, if you've never seen my video on when thinking about getting baby goats, I'm going to link it for you here because there's some really good information in there. And one of them is to have a good mentor. And I have an absolutely wonderful mentor. She's always responded to me quickly, and that's what I did. I contacted her, and she responded right back and said to give her X-Band, I think it was called. And I will look that up in my and put that in the bottom of the screen right here, so you will have that, because you can purchase that if you don't want to do the DIY. So you can use that on them, and she said to get it into them just as quickly as possible. Now the X-Band, I don't have any idea how much to give them, but this right here, and then she gave me this recipe where you can make it yourself. Now, one thing that's in it is activated charcoal. Now, I do have activated charcoal on hand because I do like to make soap. There's one for face soap that I especially like, so that's what I use the charcoal in. I was very fortunate to have that, so you need the activated charcoal. I will leave you a link in the description box below that will take you to Amazon where you can order your own. That's where I got mine. And it also takes Mylanta, which I didn't have. So fortunately, we live somewhere my husband was able to go to the store and get some. So have these things on hand. I am looking. I thought my goat box for taking care of them was in pretty good shape, but found out I was still, and this is a really important thing, we need to have on hand. And also oil. I use olive oil. You could use sesame oil, almond oil. You could probably even use Wesson or Crisco vegetable oil or something like that if you like. All she said was oil, so I used olive oil because I just felt like it was a healthier choice. So anyway, but to make the charcoal, the detox for your goats, and the first sign of poisoning is when they're throwing up. If they're throwing up, then your goats have been poisoned. It took us a while to figure out how she was poisoned, and which that was not our main concern. It was just the fact she was poisoned, and we were in awe of it and completely freaked out. But anyway, so you just get as much of this, you mix it up. It's 2 cups of oil, a half a cup of Mylanta, and a half a cup of activated charcoal. And you just mix that up together really, really good. You can see it was pretty full. And we got that much into, well, not just her, we also treated Athena, even though she wasn't showing any signs. She was in the same area. She had the opportunity to eat the azalea lambs just as much as Fiona, so we made sure we got some of this in her too. And we had like it was a 30 millimeter or milliliter 30 milliliter syringe, and we used that, and we got 3 syringes into Fiona, and pretty good, you know, when you're giving goats liquids. And plus she's throwing up, so she didn't want things going in her mouth, but you really got to work really hard and trying to get it in there. Now you can, when you're using liquids and you're administering them in a syringe to your goats, you can make them aspirate, which means they breathe it into their lungs, which can cause a whole nother world of issues. So what I always try to do, try to aim it towards her cheek, so that way it hits there, and then she has time to swallow the liquid, and hold her head up just like you would if you were giving her a bottle. Hold her head up so it goes down to that bottom stomach, okay? And just squirt it over in the side, and you just do a little at a time, and she won't like it. She's not going to be happy about it. But anyway, so we did that. We gave that a try. We didn't initially call the vet. I wanted to. My husband wanted to wait, see how it goes, which I don't recommend that, actually, because either they get better or they die. I don't like the alternative, you know. So, but the next morning, her head was up, but she was still with us, but she was still throwing up. She didn't feel good. And so we called the vet out, and she just did a wonderful job. She gave her an antibiotic just in case there was anything going on in there. She gave her 2 shots. This happened a couple weeks ago, guys. I can't even remember what the other thing she gave her. But the main thing that she gave her, for nausea. She gave us pills for nausea that I crushed up, and I would give to her in a syringe in her mouth for nausea to try to help her out there. Now, and she gave us an IV bag, which we use. We gave her like 40 milliliters of the fluid. Well, I would actually give her like 80 milliliters, and sometimes I even gave her 120 to give her, because to keep her from being dehydrated, which was really important. And she said, the vet said too, it can help flush that poison out of their bodies. That later that afternoon, she was up and moving around, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to be okay. And then that night, she went to screaming again. We came out, and it was a total relapse. The next day was absolutely horrible. She laid down most of the day and did not get up. I would have to feel her to even see if she was breathing, and it would take me a minute to even know. I really thought she was dying. I really thought I was going to lose her that day, so I did not take pictures of her that sick, because she was my very first goat. When I first held her in my arms, when she was only like 2 days old, she fell asleep in my arms, and she has been my girl. I love them all very, very much, but she and I have a real connection. So we religiously gave them, we religiously gave her the fluid every 4 hours. She got her nausea medicine. Athena, stop. She's trying to eat the tripod, guys. So, but anyway, and then later that second day, Athena, stop. Later the second day, she was up, and she was just like her old self. And I was like, Athena, stop, fathead. Hey, stop. So anyway, later the second day, she was up and just her old self, and I can't even begin to tell you how happy I was. I really thought I had lost my girl, and this is her right here. We really thought that she was going to die. And the worst part of poisoning in goats is that they eat stuff and then they, throw it up and chew the cud, and they continually do this process for I don't know how long, but it takes a long time. And so they're just continuing to throw up and chew this poison and bring it right back into their body. So I can tell you this, I honestly believe that this really helped absorb some of that poison, and I also truly believe that the fluid that that the vet gave us really helped flush her body. And she did get dehydrated. She got to where I could hardly pull her skin up to be able to give her a shot, to be able to put that fluid into her body. I mean, it was just, it was sad. It was just horrible, guys. And all I can tell you is don't give up. Don't go ahead and make this up. I kept this for y'all so I could make this video and show you what it looks like. I'm going to throw it out because I don't know what the shelf life is on it, and I'm hoping and praying that we won't ever need this again. But I have the supplies on hand if I do, and the recipe. And this is what today is about. Guys, get your Mylanta, get your oil, and get your activated charcoal, and have it on hand. Have your recipe on hand in case any of your goats, and educate yourself on what is poisonous to goats, and so you can be aware. And throwing up, vomiting is the sign of poisoning. So, oh Lord, the boys have heard us. You hear them over there? So be aware, keep it on hand, be prepared, and call your vet. Get them on out. If there's any way if you can get a vet out, be sure and get a vet out. And if not, just really try to. And if you can't get a vet, just try to get fluids in them. And like I said, make sure you go in their cheeks so they don't aspirate. Well, look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? She's so pretty. And she is doing so good. And you're mama's girl, aren't you? Yes, you are. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you've enjoyed this video, or if this video was helpful to you, please give us a big old thumbs up. It really does help us out a lot. And until next time, take care and God bless.